before we get into it, right? So my pre-market plan coming into today, my top three, really four, because I'm going to be looking at QQQ as well, is Apple, AMD, and NVIDIA. Now, starting with AMD, you can clearly see we're still in a range. Um, I don't like that we swept this liquidity pre-market. So, right, you can see we're still stepping lower. I would not be surprised, right, if we were just stuck in this range, right? So we've already swept this, right? It would be different if we had unmitigated liquidity, but we already broke this, right, top of this range. That's what we've been doing, and then we rejected. So we are hands off on this name until we break over 184.50, but this will be on my close watch. Apple, I mean, beautiful. I've been preaching, right? This thing is not ready to be shorted. Of course, right? Apple gives us this beautiful break and retest on a Friday, but as you can see, look at the continuation we had, right? I've been saying we are in play towards all-time highs, right? This is crazy, right? So what am I looking for? Break and retest over 258.20, targeting all-time highs, or a pullback long off this 253. As we know, this is the better RR trade, right? This still needs a retest during the intraday session, but we'll see what happens. But long, I'm looking for a long over 258.20, targeting all-time highs, or a pullback to 253. Ideally, I would love a pullback. And then AMD, right? Beautiful. Trust the levels, right? We broke this down already, but if you were able to take this pullback long, right off of here, right? Beautiful break, retest, hold, right? Look at that, right? Beautiful swing trade. Trade off these key levels. That's beautiful. So coming into today, clearly right now we're in the middle of the no trade zone. We really didn't do much during the pre-market and after hours, right? So looking for a long over 240.10 or a pullback long over 227.30. This thing is still intact to the upside. QQQ. Right, beautiful. I'm loving that. We were seeing some upside without any news. Let's go here for a second. Right, I've been saying we were looking for a break outside of this range. We're finally seeing it. So if we can get, some more displacement at market open and then a retest on the 607.15, I'm definitely looking for a long entry there. Most likely, I mean, very annoying, but there's nothing we can do about it. Right, we've been sitting on our hands waiting for this 445 break, and of course, Tesla wants to give us this the week it has earnings, right? So no figure. Unfortunately, I might have to pass on this. I most likely will, right? Look at the IV. We're almost sitting at 100, right? These things are risk management, right? The IV is sitting at 100, pretty much. And then look how expensive these contracts are, right? But that's expected, right? I mean, look at this. This is at the money, and it's $2,000 a contract. That's crazy. So, but that's expected, right? We literally have earnings in 2 days, so pretty much just hands off this name. Even if it sets up, right? You don't want to get crushed on the IV, which means if you get a pullback or anything, it's gonna crush you, right? So that being said, most likely we'll pass on this. Very unfortunate, but it is what it is. So yeah, my top three is for the close watch is Apple, AMD, NVIDIA, um, and really QQQ. Right, this is a really good setup. Right, if Qs can get over this 207, I mean this is clear shot above, and then targeting all-time highs. Right, let's zoom out here. This is really big on the higher time frame. Right, we've been stuck in this channel all week. I've been saying you can't sit in the channel all week. Right, so what do we want to see? We want to see the top of this channel. And our no trade zone turn into support and then continue higher. So that looks really good. Obviously, it's sitting above the previous day high. Let's see, we are sitting above the pre-market high. So we look good. We look really good. So this is something I will be watching as well on the Qs. A little bit more displacement than that retest. So, and I think that's about it. Yeah, very unfortunate that we're getting that set up now on Tesla the week it has earnings, right? But really, we'll be watching Apple. I mean, Apple looks solid. You can clearly see we were bullish. I've been preaching that forever, even when we were consolidating. And this thing is still in play to all-time highs, right? So hopefully we can get this set up. But really, this and the Qs will be my main watch at open. Okay, so really outside of Apple and the Qs, really may be a slow type of Monday. We'll see. Nvidia is dead smack in the middle of the range, so there's nothing there. Apple's really the only one that I'm watching. Hopefully we can get this pullback long to 253, and then we finally have Qs sitting outside of the range. So I want to see this hold or fail, and then a break and retest reclaim, something like that. So really the main two right now is Qs and Apple for me. I really don't want to see Qs fall back under this 207, 607.15, because then we'll just be back in the middle of that range. Um, but yeah, nothing really going on AMD, NVIDIA. Obviously not touching Tesla. I'll check it in maybe 15, but I highly doubt we're going to get IV cool off. We have earnings this week, so pretty much just hands off that name until Thursday. I'm not going to force that. I'm highly sure anyone with a small account won't even be able to trade Tesla today. Um, so don't let FOMO kick in, right? We've been waiting for that 4-5 break, but hey, control what you can control. It gives us the breakout in the weekend earnings, and we can do about that. So, but as of right now, Qs and SPY, very bullish, both sitting above the previous day high. So if we get a little pullback, that's fine. I don't even trade the first 2 minutes. As we know, my favorite setups is when we fell and then reclaim with momentum. So I definitely will be looking for that. Clearly, we're not looking to short the overall market. So just gonna be patient, sit on our hands, see what sets up. Got about 40 seconds till market opens. That's exactly what you want to see on the cues. Like I said, I don't trade that first 2 minute candle. Cues inspire gone, which looks really good. So that's what I love to see. Um, I can get a pullback to this. Love it. Right. Clearly watching Apple. This thing is inflated all-time highs. If people just rips to this and shoots to all-time highs, I'm kind of hands off there. If AMD can get up to 240.10, I like it. We love to see our key level be respected. Tesla just broke 445. Obviously, we're not trading that. Q's is gone. Spy's gone. Looks really good. Q's break 609.70. I like that as well. It's going to be patient here. Apple looks good, as we know. Going to need some displacement here with candle closure. If AMD can get going, I like it. I am watching the Qs. Qs look solid, though. If Qs can break over the 609.70, that looks solid. Overall market's pushing, so love it. If SPY can get over 669.20, that looks great. Look at this, right? This 258.20, this is a key level. This is the top of a channel on Apple, right? So me personally, I love seeing my key levels get respected before taking a trade, right? That gives me confidence when I take that trade. That gives me conviction. I know I'm taking a trade off a valid level, right? NVIDIA is very, well, it's not very heavy, but it's in the middle of no man's land, so we don't really care about NVIDIA right now. I love the momentum and the strength here on the overall market. Looks good. SPY looks good. Even if this candle closes, which we got 10 seconds, I need more displacement on this candle on Apple. See, I don't like that. See, that doesn't count for me. I need like way more displacement, a little bit. That, right, that looks good. If we take out this all-time high, maybe I'm hands off, but looks super solid. That's the displacement we're looking for, right? Nice. See, there are sellers sitting up here. Look how big this wick is. Golly. Right, there are sellers sitting up here. That's why you wait for displacement, candle closure. Like I said, very annoying. Apple gave us that setup last week. I'm not on Friday, my bad. Qs really might be the only thing I'm looking at right now. Only reason is, even if we get proper, not like this. It's not the best RR trade, but 2 hour move isn't too bad. Right, we're playing the objective here, which is, all-time highs, gravitation on this name, right? That's literally what we're playing. You see none's going on here on AMD, you see none going on here on NVIDIA. Apple's trying, right? Apple is bullish, clearly. But you see, look at all these wicks. Like, sellers are sitting in here, right? This is how you avoid fake outs. Yeah, the only thing that looks solid right now is the Qs. The only thing that looks solid, I would love a down close candle or something before we hit this 609.70. Doesn't really seem like so right now. Yeah, the price went down on these contracts. I remember last week they were averaging around like $300, like $3 on the Qs. So I love that. You can see Apple's starting to hold. We just need more displacement before we even attempt to take that. I would love a pullback on the SPY and on the Qs before we break, right? We have no down close candles, right? 2, 4, 6, 8 minutes straight upside. So love to see it though, right? Apple is flirting. Like I've been saying all last week, really the best names to really trade is the SPY and the Qs. It's really the best names to trade. Right? But I really want to explain this. This is why we avoid channels, but then understanding how clean price action is once we break out, right? This breakout is no surprise because we finally broke out of that channel, right? a lot of built up liquidity, which caused us that big breakout. Um, Last week, go watch our live trading session when I think it was Wednesday, when we were watching AMD, right? It was sitting in a channel, and as soon as it broke out, the breakout was so big, we never got that retest, right? So yeah, my main focus, I mean, look at the price action here, AMD on NVIDIA. Apple is fighting. So look at that on the dot, right? Like this is what you want to see, right? Give me one sec. Like that's what you want to see on the dot, right? Twice, right? That's beautiful. Right to our key level. That's exactly what you want to see. I would really prefer like at least one red close candle before this breakout. So we'll see. Right? Even though the price action isn't that good on Apple, it really already like after that move we just had last Friday, right? And then we just opened up near all-time highs. I mean, this is expected. This isn't even bad, right? It's expected. Very unfortunate the timing played out, right? I believed in Apple when no one did. I have friends telling me like, bro, you're tripping. Like Apple was so lag behind. I'm like, guys, it is in play to the upside. So, very unfortunate, but I am happy to see that this team's gravitated higher. Our thesis was correct, and I do think it will hit all-time highs. I really do. Look, we're not that far away. Right, this is what I wanted to see. Right, I want to see like that, and then right, a good breakout displacement candle, then a retest. I like curiosity. Yeah, I'm not touching Tesla. It's unfortunate, but it was kind of yeah. Hell no, I'm not touching Tesla. I don't even want to look right now. I don't even want to see if it did what we wanted it to do. Apple looks solid, right? Um, just need more displacement, right? Body of the candle closed at 258.45. That's barely a 20-cent difference, right? You're looking for the body of the candle to close, right? That's where the price closed. So still haven't really got that displacement. You see, we're kind of just sitting, right? We are respecting this level, obviously. Um, so we'll see. The pullback we see right now really is on, I mean, right on the dot. That's beautiful. So I'm looking for a pullback long to, 607 or a break and retest out of this 609.70. This would be a valid long, right? We still need this retest. We still need this retest, right? Once again, the SPY and the Qs are very identical. Like literally, SPY looks just like the Qs chart. It's identical. It's kind of crazy. So the resistance here on the Qs is 609.70, and the resistance right now on SPY is 669.20, right? Technically, right, this is holding as support. That's what we wanted to see. Um, this was an okay displacement, but right, the trade already happened, which is kind of unfortunate. Um, right, that was what we were looking for on Friday. That's exactly what we got. The trade already happened. Like we're pretty much already towards all-time highs. Like I said, the key for me, like this is the pullback I wanted. So as long as we don't take out this all-time highs liquidity, this pullback is still valid. Um, I doubt that, but like I said, I would have preferred the 253, but this trade has already happened, right? SPY's about to break. So I think it might just be cues for me. I'm not gonna force this, but like honestly, this I love to see. I love to see these rejections, these Wix rejections, right? I love to see that before a breakout. Right? Apple's in play. Unfortunate, but I'm very happy with really with my analysis. I just knew not to short this name. I was long biased. I knew that Apple was a slow mover. Everything else pretty much recovered very well after its sell-off, except for Apple, right? Because I know that this name is a slow mover, but it was holding. It was holding. The overall market was stuck in a channel last week, so obviously we're gonna get bad price action across the board. And we took our shots last week, right? We took I think two, three. Obviously, we took a scalp on Friday, but I think we took two shots on Apple last week, right? So I am practicing what I'm preaching, right? I believed in that thesis. It was just the price action was not good, but very happy, right? This thing held up. It looks really solid, really, really solid. But this consolidation is, I mean, this is normal. We already got the big move, right? When you zoom out, the big move already happened. Like a trade like this, I don't really like. Like I like it because it's an objective, but look at the RR. Like yeah, it's still a good RR trade, right? Like you're looking for something like this, and then maybe you're risking like right under here, but still, right? Like this was a decent displacement, right? This was your retest. It's a slow mover. You're sitting here really until all-time high hits. It doesn't make any sense to scale out at the high day, in my opinion. So See, I figured AMD, I'm sorry, NVIDIA would be a chop a little bit just because, it did sweep that liquidity pre-market and then it just started stair stepping down, right? So 184.50 is really our key level. So, all right, our no trade zones help us. I will have an educational video coming out either tomorrow or Wednesday on, the no trade zone. I've been getting asked a lot of questions about that. So, and I think this is the perfect time, right? The overall market being in the channel. NVIDIA clearly been stuck in the channel. Tesla, right? So let's say you entered this. I think since we're already up here, you would have to let structure take you out. Like I think a valid stop loss on a Monday on a slow mover like Apple would be under really the swing low. Like this would be a valid like stop loss targeting, all-time highs. So as of right now, SPY is flirting with 66920. If we break that, we can see some more upside here on Qs. But both the Qs and SPY are sitting at a Q resistance level. Very bullish though. See, there goes SPY. That's the 66920 break, right? We were talking about. If we can get this on the Qs, that would be nice. All right, see a little something like that. Right, we can clearly see Apple is holding this 258.20. For me, I'm just passing on it because the move already happened. I would have preferred to pull back to 253, right? And we're already sitting at the all-time high. Like that's just not a good RR for me, or it just doesn't make the most sense for me to take that trade. Like even this failure and like even falling under this trade is still valid, right? Very selfish for me, but if we don't take out this 260, I would love a pullback to 253, right? Once we take out this liquidity, right, I'm hands off, but see where I placed my stop loss, right, under the swing low? Look how buyers are holding up here, right? Treat your key levels like mini zones. I always preach that. Anyone shorting this name right now, it's crazy, but this thing is in play, right? It's in play. But really the main watch here is Qs. SPY broke over 66920. Looks super solid. So slow Monday for sure, at least for now. I think since I've been trading, this has to be a record for the longest time in the period. Well, yeah, since I've been trading, I've never experienced a government shutdown. So this is the longest time um, just trading without red folder news. And to be honest, really missing it right now because that extra boost, that extra kick, it definitely helps. All right, we were supposed to have red folder news today, I believe at 6:45 or six. Yeah, I think 6:45. That got canceled. But this makes me happy, right? Even if we don't get anything here on the Qs, why does this make me happy? We're finally out of this channel, right? We finally broke out of 607.15, right? I've been preaching that, right? Look at that. We're finally outside of this channel. Finally. So we'll see what we can get. Very open to this, right? Obviously gonna wait for displacement. But this thing is in play. This thing is in play. Apple's really trying to hold here. Even an entry down here would be valid, right? I would like that because one, my risk would be tighter, and then more potential upside instead of entering like up here. We can clearly see our 609.70 being respected on the dot, right? Beautiful, beautiful. Look at that. I've been saying, right? Treat it like a mini zone. I typically like to let market structure be my stop loss, right? You want to put your stop loss like this. Beautiful. A lot of traders got faked out right here. That level fell, they got faked out. So I love that we saw this in real time, right? This was the better entry, right? Because if you're wrong, it's right under here, right? So you're really risking right under this 257, and your target is all-time highs. That's a great risk to reward trade. Look at that, right? What do I always preach? When a level fails, people are selling for their loss, getting squeezed out of their positions. What does that do? Fuel the move higher. Look at that. Beautiful. Love to see it. Clearly not looking to short this name. This thing is holding, right? Let this be an example, right? While we treat our levels like mini zones, wait for the deepest pullbacks, right? Stuff like this takes time to understand, right? It takes time. I used to lose trades and get faked out, and my thesis was correct, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? And it wasn't even necessarily poor stop loss placement, which was something that I had to work on. It was also understanding like liquidities, right? Liquidity grabs, fake outs, stuff like that. Because I would ask the real questions like, why am I getting, right? Why am I getting stopped out of my position right before it rips, right? I was that trader when you thought, oh, the market's against you, or But no, like it was just understanding market structure, understanding liquidities, understanding that these names that are trending, they're gonna pull back and shake you out before the real move happens, right? And what happens on those pullbacks? Those are the big buyers loading up, right? And that's when we get squeezed out of our position, right? We're scared. We're like, oh crap, it went against me, broke my key level, right? And then I would ask the questions, well, how come when I sell, this thing rockets to the upside? I'm the reason that that move is being rocketed to the upside, right? Because since I'm getting squeezed out of my position for a loss, I'm fueling that move higher, right? When all those retail traders are getting squeezed out, selling for a loss at the same time, guess what? There's buyers buying, right? There's always a transaction. And what's that doing? Fueling that move higher, right? Like I said, you have to sit in this, but this is valid, right? This is very valid. But I can assure you, right, on a Monday on Apple, these contracts are not moving that much. But still, a really good shot, all-time high. Um, Nothing going on in these two names, obviously. I'm really just waiting for this displacement here on QQQ. That looks solid. Yeah, SPY's chopping a little bit, right? So remember, with 0 DTE is very cautious because you need these to work right away, right? Look at that. How do we avoid that? Just waiting for displacement. I don't care about this wick, right? I care about the body of the candle. So, right, that was only a 14-cent difference, right? 609.84. Our key level is 609.70. That's not displacement, right? Obviously, we're not looking to short this name, AMD. Good V-shaped recovery going on. Lower day bounce looks beautiful. Reclaim of this candle looks beautiful. So, see, that's a displacement candle. Well, we would need to see this body close. I'm trading on the 2 minute, so we got pretty much one more minute before we get this body of the candle close. Look at Apple. That's just beautiful analysis, right? We were able to break this down in real time. We knew, like I knew where to stop, put our stop loss, right? So I hope that makes sense, right? This stuff takes time, but that's okay, right? Practice screen time, right? That's why I record these. Just watch and review, right? Because this would be a breakup structure if we get a lower low under here. So logically, right, it just makes the most sense, right, to place a stop loss here. Look at this, beautiful. Getting pull back here on really on SPY. SPY can hold over 669.20. Gorgeous, right? What a trade. Like if you were able to catch this last Friday and swing this or something, what a trade. Even if you took this today, right? This is right off the pre-market plan. Only reason I didn't take it is because I didn't, this is like, this, it's a valid shot, right? It's a valid shot. That's just not enough for me, right? Like this is what I wanted, right? Like just pullback, continuation, right? That's a better RR trade. I'm a risk manager before I'm a trader. So very unfortunate. Good V-shaped recovery here on AMD. On the 15 minute, this looks really good. If this can break over the high day, I can see this breaking over 240. Um, the only thing holding Q's back is SPY. SPY is rejecting this 669.20 very hard. So we'll see. Maybe a cash day for me. I'm really open to AMD here. Now, since this would be an all-time high, well, really the all-time high is technically this 241.20. But this is just my key level on the daily. But if we break over this, I'm gonna need way more displacement because there's no other key levels above it. So, but right now, AMD looks really good. If we break over this high day, we'll also be able to pre-market high. We're already above the previous day high. This is the previous day high, right? How do you know a name is trending, right? When dips are getting bought up, right? So when we fell into the previous day high and reclaim, even this break and retest, buyers are in control, right? So really good V-shaped recovery here. If we break through this high day, we could really see some more continuation here, right? But what was it last week? Last Friday? Beautiful, right? Our what key level was at? 227.30, right? That pullback long off of there. That was a beautiful trade, beautiful pullback. Those were the only two trades that really set up last Friday. It was Apple and AMD, the pullback longs. Hope this makes sense, right? We were able to break this down. A lot of traders enter on this and then, they enter on like the instant retest. But I always say, right, the most important entry criteria is displacement. Weak breakout equals fake out. And that's clearly what we saw, right? I need something strong, right? Even if you retook this, right, look at this displacement breakout candle and then the retest, right? Q's look good. It's the SPY holding it down right now. There's a little bit of divergence right now. Q's is definitely stronger than the SPY. Can even touch this for the next 2 minutes. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. Um, this looks solid, right? V-shape recovery, break through the high day. This looks really solid on AMD. I would just need displacement on this candle on the Qs. This thing is still in play to the upside. That looks solid. If I got to pick between AMD and the Qs, I'm obviously going to go with AMD. Just better price action, way more momentum. Um, and then it's safer, right? It's not a 0 DTE. Me taking this trade would just be a scalp. And that's why I really want a big breakout displacement candle because then I can have a swing high to target, right? But there's a lot of liquidity up here. I'm sorry, a lot of resistance up here. Yeah, our biggest breakout here was a 14-cent difference, right? That's what we want to see. I'm watching AMD on the 15-minute as well. This thing looks really good, really, really good. See, once again, right, this is how we avoid fake outs. This has been our biggest breakout. Just a 14-cent difference, right? That's not displacement. Don't let these wicks fool you, right? If I can get like a body of the candle close like way up here, that's solid, right? This is a break-in base, right? That there's no displacement there. Really nothing on the video. Key level to the dot. That's what you love to see. All right, our key levels are getting respected very well. See, this is how we avoid fake outs, right? I want you to write that down and stick it on your computer, right? Weak breakout equals fake out. A breaking base, that's not showing me that buyers are in control. That's just showing me orders are getting filled, liquidity is getting swept, and then we reverse, right? That's not showing me that, hey, buyers are saying, hey, I'm here. I'm taking over this level. Beautiful analysis here on Apple. Just honestly textbook. To young traders like who like to swing trade, um, man, my best advice, it may sound crazy, is I think that Apple is really the best name to swing trade. I think Apple respects its technical analysis level on the dot, especially on the higher time frame. I believe Apple's one of those names, like the higher the time frame you trade it on, the better. And the reason that I believe it's really good for small accounts or for new traders is because it's a slow mover on the underlying, right? You don't have to worry about volatility as much as you would for a name like Tesla, right? So Apple's really solid for swing trading, right? You can be patient in this name. You can keep your stop losses really, really tight. Um, you don't really have to worry too much about slippage and stuff like that. Like Apple's a really good name to swing trade, right? A tech name like Tesla, I really wouldn't recommend it unless you scale down tremendously, right? Because you got to be able to like sit in those drawdowns. See, this is displacement, right? That's beautiful. Now, I might pass on this, right? Just because the thing is, like, SPY is chopping around 669.20, right? We're bullish, but it's chopping. And remember, you don't want to get into a 0 DTE, right? It's in consolidation, but this is what I'm looking for on this name. That's proper displacement, right? We still want to see AMD get above that. So I'm definitely open to trading this if we can get this pullback. Let me see. I always kind of want the key level that broke. The only thing that really makes me a little hesitant on trading the Qs is just SPY, right? And then finally got some displacement here on the Qs, but look at we're moving higher, right? It's just sitting. Like I need some more momentum here. We may get a blow off top here on AMD. You can definitely see that bull flag setting up. Forward. Yeah. So overall, really a slow morning. Obviously, NVIDIA stuck in this range. Um, really good shot here on Apple. This trade set up last Friday. AMD is looking good. Really good V-shaped recovery. Looking to break this key level, retest it. So, right, good displacement there. Like I said, could see a blow off top here. And Q's is in play to all-time highs right now. This thing is in play to all-time highs for sure, for sure. Just gotta know like to read price action. Like I'm not really a fan of all these wicks right for 0 DTE. I need that crap to work right away. Cons are a little expensive on AMD. Can tell you a lot. Yeah, low key actually. I still need more displacement on this candle, so I'm not gonna wag my tail. Let's see what happens. It's not too bad, but not enough for me. SPY looks solid too. Reason we're seeing AMD goes because now SPY's finally breaking over the 66920, right? Then get that breakout here, or displacement breakout. But look at Q's. Q's is in play to all-time highs, right? 613, we're at 610, 41. This thing is in play for sure. Q's looks really good. Look at that, right? That's why we wait for displacement. That is why we wait for displacement. I may not get this on the Q's. I would love for a pullback and really just target the swing high. On the 15-minute Q's looks solid. Despite as well. Look at that. That is, ugh. Like, how do I know these things? Trial and error. You know, I hated hearing it myself, but it's true. Like, you do have to lose in order to win and learn. But you got to make sure that you're actually learning, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Journal what you did wrong. And I would take trades that was like the instant break and retest, but it's not really, right? Like, that's not buyers saying, hey, I'm here, right? That's not buyers saying I'm taking over at this level, right? Avoiding these trades, skipping these trades. This is how you increase, your gains and your win percentage and stuff like that, right? Patience pays. Um, yeah, I don't even think we're gonna get this on the Qs. Yeah, even yeah, both these names, both of SPY and the Qs are in shot towards all-time highs. I'm even open to trading the SPY if we can get a pullback to 669.20. This is 609.70, which is now 1641. I doubt we'll get it, but I would love that, right? That looks solid to me. 14 minutes of straight upside, right? These are 2-minute candles. That's 14 minutes of straight upside. I'm gonna need a deeper pullback before I take this trade. That looks solid. I'm being conservative because these are 0 DTEs I'm messing around with, so right. And look for a trade here playing tomorrow expiration just to help you out a little bit. But this name's trending. I'm just looking for a pullback along, targeting a swing high. And that's pretty much it. I'm not going to force that though. Clearly, we're not looking to short this name. I'm just looking for a deep enough pullback to keep my risk pretty tight. Doesn't seem like so. AMD is holding up. I will say that clearly Apple is respecting this 258.20. Maybe you could have took off 90% there and just left the rest to see what happened. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this name's trending. This name looks solid. Yeah, not Apple. Well, yeah, Apple too, but Spine and Qs, bro, they're in play to all-time highs right now. They're definitely in play to all-time highs. This one candle pullback, because I have the at-the-money cons. This is why I'm looking for a 0 GTE. This one candle pullback long on this candle alone just went 2 strike prices up in the money, right? And these were at-the-money cons, and now they're 2 strike prices up. So that's why I'm just looking for a scalp on this, right? The name's trending, pay you very well. You can get a quick 30+%, maybe even more with momentum. So I'm not gonna force it. Fuck was that? I'm gonna just make the assumption on Apple and AMD, those were misprints candles. I'm gonna just make that assumption. If you look at Qs on the 15-minute, not one down closed red candle, all thick bullish candles to the upside. It's crazy. Like, I'm not messing around with these 0 DTEs. I'm not. I like AMD if we can get this displacement candle. Clearly, I'm watching the Qs here. I'm not gonna blindly take this. Technically, that is a retest, right? Maybe it looks better on the 1 minute, but about 20 seconds until a new candle forms, but I'm not going to blindly take that. That was just a scalp. I was not messing around with that. I hate playing zero GTEs to be honest, but it's just a scalp. Like 800 bucks. And I played at the money cons too, so both could have went a little bit higher, right? That's exactly why I hate that right there, right? That's why I say treat zero TDs like a scalp. Um, Clearly you want that high day, but that was a quick 800 bucks, bro. I can't even be upset. It's a good shot. Traded 100 cons there. But what do I really want to like show is we didn't chase this, right? I was very patient for this to like come back and get hit. I was very patient for that. Might call it here. Unfortunately, these have really been scalping conditions. Unfortunately, right? Like this is valid, right? If you play like next, I recommend like playing next day expiration because you really got to be able to know how to trade these zero GTEs. But like this is valid, right? This is valid. Like on a weekly con, I'm supposed to hold that. Um, but on zero GTEs, man, those pullbacks they hurt, right? As quickly as I just made 800, I could have quickly been down what 2,000. So it's a solid trade. It was a quick scalp. I was really looking for like that push into the high day, right? I love these type of candles because as I always preach, right, straight down equals straight up. This is very valid, right? This is a valid shot. This dip is getting bought up, right? This stock is trending. You can clearly see, right? We are trending. So now the thing with Nvidia is we already swept this previous day's high liquidity, right? So I would need a like 10 times bigger breakout over this 184.50, right? This is no longer unmitigated liquidity with a fresh breakout, right? We've already swept that. So that would be like kind of a fake out to me, right? Just a base hit day, right? Nothing on our tech names really showed up. You can see me leading up to this trade. I was a little hesitant just because we are moving higher. But like I said, you want zero DTEs to work right away. And I just didn't like all these wicks. But super solid day, right? The lesson here today is like waiting for proper displacement before the retest. So we avoided all of this over here, right? We avoided all that, right? Right? What happened when we got our breakout with displacement, retest, took our shot, or a quick scalp? I mean, this was a good entry. I saw buyer step in here. Sold here. I was looking for that high day push, but right, quick 800 bucks in less than a minute. I'll take it. Um, there's really been nothing setting up on our tech names, right? This is a valid trade. Like if you hold that, I'm not sitting in that pullback on a zero DTE, but it's a valid trade, right? If this gravitates towards all-time highs, and I was in this trade low-key heavy, so I'm sorry, not all-time highs, just towards the high of day. And then something I want to break down is right when you're trading zero GTEs, you want to just target the swing high, right? You have to treat those like scalps, right? You saw me do that last Friday. You saw me do that today. You have to treat those like scalps, right? Because stuff like this, because when it's a zero GTE, right, you got theta to worry about. So these pullbacks, right, they hurt you more. And then when the name chops around, your stop loss, I mean, your percentage on being negative just gets bigger, right? Because you don't have time on your side. So crazy part is on zero GTEs, you're better off getting stopped out right away compared to sitting in a consolidation and then getting stopped out, right? So on a different name like Apple, right? You're sitting in this, right? You saw us play this out. You're sitting in this, right? You got weekly cons. You're looking for the higher time frame target, but on scalping, right? You're on defense as soon as you enter that trade, right? Like this, even if my stop loss didn't get hit, I would not want to be sitting in this on Qs on a zero DTE, even if it's moving my way, right? And I'm always playing at the money cons. For the sake of structure, I would really love to see Nvidia get over this 184.50. Like I said, we are bearish bias on this name as long as we're under 184.50. At least I am. So see, that's what I wanted to happen as soon as I entered, right? Once you understand zero TTEs, bro, as soon as if you're targeting the swing high, look at this candle. I promise you, that's a 20, 30% trade right away. Maybe even more. Yeah, I'm looking at my cons now that I bought. Those are already two strike prices in the money, right? That's the thing on zero TTEs. Like, you're going to get those 20, 30% returns in 1 minute or even a second. But you got to know how to trade them, right? I'm treating them as a scalp. Like, this is perfect, right? As soon as we stalled out, like, this was a good stop. This was a good scalp for me, right? It's a zero TTE. I'm not looking for continuation like I would on a tech name with weekly comps, right? Get in, get out. But this, very solid trade, right? Forget the 0 DT, right? What do we like? We see this thing stair stepping, right? What do we just see? Beautiful break, retest, enter. That is gorgeous, right? That's what you want to see. Why do I say treat your stop losses like mini zones, right? Look at it, hold our zone, right? You never would have got a candle closure under this. You're still in this. Now, of course, you don't want to sit on this in 0 DT. You're going to be down like 20+%, but we're just talking about structure, right? Break, retest, that's beautiful. This thing is in play to the upside. This thing is really in play to all-time highs without any news catalyst as well.